A win in their Klassiker for Bayern Munich would secure another title. Craig Burley, is there anything to suggest that they won't get what they're looking for based on the history of this fixture? And Dortmund haven't won at the Allianz Arena for 5 years, and they've lost the last 7 meetings between the sides.
You're painting a rather bleak picture here, but I agree. It's I think unlikely. I think it's a sooner rather than later that Bayern wrap this up. It's not good. I think it's rather tedious, to be honest with you. I mean, there's no point trying to paint some sort of rosy picture here. I think the Bundesliga has some big issues. I think 2 of those issues are, one is Bayern, but that's not Bayern's problem. And I think 2 is the rest. And that is their problem. And I think until some of the others can get their act together, it's problematic. That's not to say there's not good games within a season. Of course there are. And there are some more than decent teams in the Bundesliga. But it's certainly, in my opinion, a huge problem when you have this domination. Now, this Bayern team haven't looked as strong this year. Nagelsmann's a new coach going in there. I think defensively, they've looked weak. They've obviously lost players as well and are losing players in the summer again. But they'll recruit, and we know they'll go and pilfer other players from other German clubs as well as from abroad. There's no doubt going out of the Champions League to Villarreal poses some, I think, big questions for Julian Nagelsmann. But certainly delivering the Bundesliga will, I don't know if you want to call it a success. It's certainly not a failure, but it's certainly expected. And I'm not sure that's going to gloss over the disappointment of their performance against what can only be called pretty much a Spanish minnow, and Unai Emery's Villarreal.
Well, they're from a town, not even a city of 50,000 people. So, yes, it was a big surprise. But from Julian Nagelsmann's point of view, the least that was expected of him coming in was to win the league. So we can check that box. But a quarterfinal defeat against Villarreal, how would his report card read with just a league title in the bag after season 1?
I suppose you could look at it and say, first year in, very young guy, really, going in with a lot of big stars. And he talked about it himself at the start of the season, how he was actually quite nervous walking into that Bayern dressing room, because here we have a guy who is a coveted young coach, but who was the big star at RB Leipzig. He was the big star and the players were the players. He's now the Bayern head coach and the big stars are on the field. That's a different scenario to be in. So maybe from that sense, first year, get in, have some success with the Bundesliga title, although it's expected, and then sort of build from there. I certainly think if there's no forward progress next year, and we have a similar scenario, certainly with the Champions League, I think that's going to be problematic for them. Because I don't think just winning the Bundesliga for the hierarchy at Bayern in the current climate would be acceptable. I think they have to have that ability to really punch their way amongst the elite level other clubs in European football. And this year they just haven't had it. So it's a difficult quandary. I think he's done okay. It's been a decent year for Bayern up to this point, but it's not been a brilliant one.
Both sides, Craig, have star strikers. I want to talk about Haaland in just a second, but to do what Bayern would hope to do in season 2, progress further in the Champions League, could they do that if they sell Lewandowski this summer?
Well, no. They could if they go out and bring somebody in like Haaland, but we believe he's going to be taking a different route. So there's no. I don't think they'll be losing Lewandowski, and I think you've only got to look to see what Karim Benzema's doing at 34 at Real Madrid, probably playing the best football of his career. Outstanding. Doesn't look like a 34-year-old. He's carrying that team. So I don't think there's any reason to panic on that front. I think there are other areas of that Bayern team that certainly need to be strengthened. And I don't see Lewandowski, when you look at Benzema, I don't see his form tailing off. So I don't see him leaving Bayern Munich unless they have a real big star replacement, which we don't believe they have.
With one of the best strikers in the world, Dortmund haven't been able to get higher than second and could ultimately lose the title this weekend to Bayern. Without Erling Haaland in the side, how do they close the gap on Bayern next season?
They don't. And the problem for them is they could be overtaken by others. And I think the problem for Dortmund is the snowball effect here is once Haaland leaves, and he will, it turns heads. Big moves turn heads. Now, Dortmund somehow have got to try and get themselves away from this club that's just basically building players up to punt them on. And I know they've done it for a long time, but there becomes a time when you can't be the feeder to all these other clubs. And, we know this is a club that's had huge success in the past, but when you continue to sell your best players and some of the best on the planet, then clearly you're not going to improve your team. And we know they're already off the pace and have been for numerous years. So it's a real difficult quandary to be in for them. And I think they're really betwixt and between as a club in terms of what they want to be and what they want to do. And that has to be frustrating for a fan base to see the rug being pulled from under your feet as often as it has been at Dortmund. And once again will be this summer when Erling Haaland leaves we believe it'll be Manchester City or a big elite level European club. So yeah, they don't. The answer is they don't close the gap. The gap gets bigger, and somebody else is going to have to come along and put up a fight for Bayern's dominance in German football.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.